a good ball. The flag stays down. Heaney! Oh!
He scored again! It's Davis again! His job done now.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Northern Ireland podcast with myself, Adam Johnson and Andy McComb. Today we speak to Mr. Highlight Reel himself, Bailey Peacock-Farrell, after that amazing performance against Germany and what was ultimately a disappointing night in our 2-0 defeat here at the National Football Stadium at Windsor Park. We're going to be talking to him obviously about that, but also about how his Northern Ireland career started, a bit about his current day situation, and we're going to also hear from Andy McComb later on, who's going to take us to the GAWA zone. But right now, let's start with Bailey Peacock-Farrell. So Bailey, thank you for joining us on the podcast here. In my intro, I described you as Mr. Highlight Reel. I don't think there was any other way to describe your performance against Germany. How do you look back on it now when you've had time to ponder it over?
Looking back, obviously, collectively we're probably a bit disappointed in terms of the opportunities that we didn't take early on in the game, because I think they were rattled in the first half. They weren't ready for the intensity that we bring in, the atmosphere that we create, and we had the first two chances of the game, and I think if we scored those, it could have been a different game. But on a personal note, obviously I had a lot of saves to make, and obviously that's kind of nice to do against the top nation, and it's always a good test to play against these the big nations like Germany and like Holland coming up.
It's an interesting one, because as a goalkeeper, I'm sure you'd imagine, or you'd rather having like a quieter night in front of goal. But obviously when you have these sorts of nights, you really get to showcase how good you are, and you get to show yourself as a goalkeeper, obviously, in these sorts of moments.
Yeah, definitely. I think every goalkeeper wants to have a quiet night, because that means that everything's going according to plan almost. And yeah, when you are playing these big nations, obviously you are going to be tested, and those are the challenges that I face, that we face as a team, is obviously against these big nations who have got some unbelievable players, and that's.
And I don't know if this is a fair question to ask, but do you have a favourite, if you can actually remember all the saves?
I think the one before half time was probably the most important. I would say, to keep it at 0-0. So those saves maybe not the most spectacular to look at or whatever, but it's more how the meaning behind them. So I like that one the most.
I think it's the one that I reacted most to be honest. I sat up obviously in the media tribune, and when you pulled off that save, it was one where I kind of leant back in my chair like, oh, kind of, you're right. It was at the moment in that game, it was obviously a big save. What was it like to talk about going in at halftime 0-0, just to get a reflection of what it was like? Was obviously we had the chance just before with Connor.
Yeah.
What was it like in the change room at halftime? Because you guys must have been so proud of that first half performance, because it was a joy to watch from the stands as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think to go in at half time was obviously a good achievement to do, and it was a goal that we set out as if we could stay in the game for as long as possible. That was the main objective, and to go in at half time and 0-0 with the chances we created, and almost, I don't know what the stats are saying, but it felt like a very even first half. So to go in like that was obviously a really, it was a good feeling, and it was something to take on into the second half. It gives you a good platform to go into the second half.
And what was the feeling like after the game? Because I think everyone else kind of had that thought of the what if kind of feeling. Was it like that with the players in the change room afterwards?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think there was some what ifs and those kind of things, those thoughts of if we did this or if we did that, because obviously, yes, they're a huge nation, and but we had some opportunities, and I think we certainly put it down to the feelings of what if.
And how do you think that sets us up now? Obviously, in the group in terms of qualifying for Euro 2020. I mean, when you have a performance like that against Germany, it must at least make you think it's definitely not, all hope is not lost. I mean, if you can play like that against Germany, you can do that on any night, whether that be home or away.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Obviously, when the group got first announced and that you've got those two big nations there ahead of us, it's a real difficult challenge that we've got to overcome. But like you said, with those the performance that we did against Germany, it shows that we can do anything and anything is possible. So there's no fear going into the next international break. There's only confidence and excitement.
And I just kind of want to navigate back to the start now. So obviously you're from England yourself, but how did this process of becoming and starting playing for Northern Ireland begin for yourself? When was that first kind of contact made, or when was that decision in your mind kind of thought of, oh, I could look at playing for Northern Ireland, or when did someone get in contact with you as such?
Might have been 2-3 years ago now. There were Andy Cousins contacted my agent and was asking about just to confirm the eligibility for Northern Ireland, and it became a real opportunity around about then when was that, and I had the chat with him, and then went down and spoke to the gaffer, and it kind of went from there. So just the ball started moving maybe 2-3 years ago as such, and I think that was probably the starting point of the Northern Ireland career, or the chance to get a career as such.
Because as you say, it's only been 2 or 3 years then, and it was such a quick kind of rise for yourself. I think it was one under-21 appearance you made, wasn't that right?
Yeah.
And then you've been thrown straight into the senior squad and made, I think it's 11 appearances since then. Like, do you believe how quickly this has all happened, that you've gone from where you were to international footballer and #1 goalkeeper for Northern Ireland?
Yes, I think sometimes football's quite funny like that, in terms of the speed in which things can progress, and I kind of gone from nothing, and then last year being #1 for my club, and starting the campaigns with Northern Ireland as the #1 as well. So I think if you sometimes if you reflect over the last couple of years, I think you say it was a fairly quick rise, but I'm really proud of that, and it excites me, that challenge, all those challenges to come with. I'm not fazed by the quick progression. I really enjoy it.
And is it something you're proud of, playing for Northern Ireland? I know obviously you therefore have the family connection, obviously, to play for Northern Ireland, but does it mean a lot to you as well?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, it's a huge honour to be able to pull on that shirt and to be able to step out for Northern Ireland. To be able to have this chance, to be given the chance from the gaffer, is obviously something that I'm proud of, and I really appreciate the opportunities that he's given to me.
And I think obviously you showed how proud you are with it. I know there was the whole time where you mentioned about England had asked about your allegiance, but obviously you stuck with Northern Ireland. Therefore, again, that was a big show of how much it meant to you and how much it all does mean to you. And I think that's an important message to get out to people a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously there was an opportunity there with England, but I had my foot was kind of in the door with Northern Ireland, and I enjoyed it there, and I believe that I wanted to repay the faith the gaffer shown in me, and to be, like I said, to be able to play for Northern Ireland and to be a part of the campaigns that we have so far is a huge achievement, and something I'm really proud of, and proud to say that I'm doing at the moment.
And then made your debut against Panama, I believe, out in South America.
Yeah.
On that tour, what was that like as a first kind of senior trip away? It must have been a bit of a different experience, obviously.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think that was. It was I think it was my first senior trip. I might have. I don't know which order. I went to San Marino I don't know if that was before or after. Um, but yeah, to then make my debut there. Obviously, I've never played international football before. It's a huge step up, and those those challenges I really enjoy. And yeah, to go away with the lads for that extended period of time to be able to play against the countries that we have so far is something that really excites me, and I'm excited about, and one that I can't wait to do in the future.
Then moving on to the goalkeeping kind of situation. I mean, there's you, there's Michael McGovern, there's Trevor Carson, there's also Connor Hazard, who's been around the senior squad and obviously now with the under 21s. It's a good strength in depth in terms of goalkeepers, but is it a hard one when you're all looking for first team minutes at the minute? How do you find that when you then come together for Northern Ireland?
Um, like I said, obviously it's a really good depth of goalkeepers, and I think that issue of, or the issue that some people may think is obviously we all want to play, and maybe you might not get on, or there's that kind of elephant in the room, that kind of feeling. But we're all really professional, and we all get on really well. Um, so there's never been a sense of anything other than positivity within our group. We get on really well, and we train hard, and we at the end of the day, we know it's the manager who picks the team. It's not any one of us as such. We've just got to do our best, and then that's it out of our hands, to be honest. So I've never had an issue as of yet in my career with club or country in terms of anything other than really good mates, really good teammates, and good positive environment to be in, training every day.
And what's it been like with the guys in terms of, I know there's the famous kind of goalkeepers union. Do you all, and something that I spoke to Roy Carroll about and other goalkeepers about how you're always there for each other. It seems like as if goalkeepers have that kind of special bond a lot of the time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it really kind of does exist, the goalkeepers union. There is that bond there as such, because we're separate from the group. We train together. We're always together in terms of that. So there's that bond that's created, and yeah, we'll always look after one another. Sometimes goalkeepers are maybe at the forefront of a couple of jokes from outfielders and things like that, and we're always there to back each other up. And there isn't a man left alone in the trenches as such. We're always going to be there for each other.
And a bit on Steve Harper. Obviously, he's become your goalkeeping coach here after Mike Taylor. Tell us a bit about him. How's he been?
Well, really good. Personally and collectively, I think I can speak on behalf of all the goalkeepers, where we've had really good training, and then even aside from the training and the work as such, he's a great guy, one that we all get on with, and he's really caring, and he's there for you, to obviously when we're away, and then during the course of the season when we're playing wherever, then he'll always want to make sure to try and get to our games, to keep in touch, have a quick chat here and there. So it's a great relationship to have. And like I said, on behalf of the group, it's a great appointment from Northern Ireland as well.
And now just getting towards the end, just talking about current situation. Obviously now at Burnley, how are things going there, and how are you enjoying life there?
I'm really enjoying it. Obviously I've had my bedding in period and such, and I really feel comfortable here at Burnley, and the day-to-day training, the lads, the club itself. There's only positives that I can really speak about. It's just I'm improving as a person, and as a player, and to have obviously the two goalkeepers ahead of me is a challenge, but it's a good challenge to have, and something that it can only benefit me in the long run.
because obviously you're surrounded by some good goalkeepers until you think of Burnley, and then you think of with Northern Ireland. That must be something that, for yourself, you said earlier, how you've reached where you have at your age in your career, to have those people as well alongside you constantly must be of great benefit as well.
Yeah, I would say I'm spoiled for choice. It's such, I've been really lucky in terms of the people that I've worked with at club level and international players and coaches. I've had a fair few, so at such a young age, and so all these things are only positive because you just all you need to do is take one thing, couple of things from everyone, and then apply that to yourself. If it fits, if it doesn't, it's just loads of different minds to pick. And how did you do this? How did you do that? What did you do here? All these kind of things that you should be asking when you're a young player and looking to learn. And because pretty much everyone that I've worked with has been older than me. They've been there and done it, and so it's just an opportunity to learn and better myself, and to have those kind of players that I've played with is like I said earlier, I'm pretty much spoiled for choice.
I didn't know if you needed the podcast just to kind of plug something that must be important to you. Is your dog's Instagram?
My dog's Instagram. How did you find that?
We have our ways.
You've done some digging, haven't you? Yeah. Well, if you know that, I guess you can plug it in there. I'm sure he'll be very happy with it.
Well, I'm not going to lie, it deserves a follow. I'm a big fan of dogs, so it's absolutely fine by me. I think the world needs more dogs.
Nah, they do. Dogs are great.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. But yes, no, I'm glad it's all going well for you. But finally, just to kind of finish things up, it's been some journey for you. You know, I was looking through it. You know, it's Middlesbrough, Leeds, loan spells at York, and now Burnley, Northern Ireland. What would be the hope for you? What would be the hope for you at club career and at international career if you could somehow pick something that you would like to happen?
The aim on club level is to establish myself here. That's my aim. Obviously, we spoke about the keepers ahead of me at this point, and that there's no getting around it. They're two really good goalkeepers, so that's going to take some time. But that's my aim on club level, and internationally is to maintain my spot as the number one. And to be successful, I want to get through to competitions. We're Northern Ireland. We want to be successful, and that's the aim on the international front, is to keep progressing, keep playing well, keep being the number one, and to get to some finals hopefully.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for your time, Bailey. Thank you for your time. Obviously, really appreciate it, and we will see you in October, all being well.
Yeah, see you then.
Brilliant. Thank you, mate. Say hello to the dog for me.
I will do.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
This week we asked you to send us in some of your GAWA stories, some of the things you get up to, maybe before a game, during a game, and kind of traditions that you have. So some of your responses: a lot of people going with their dad, seems very popular. We've got here Alistair D. His first game was against Poland in 2004. He's only missed one game since then with his dad. Kind of left me hanging a bit there, Alistair, by not telling me the game that you missed. Louise says that she brings her GAWA teddy with her to every game. So, fair enough. Not going to knock it. Haven't seen that in the stands before. But fair play, Louise. People beside you must just have to grin and bear that one, huh? So, Ewan said that the trains were on strike and he had to pay €400 to get to the Ukraine match, which, to be fair, looking back on it, seems a bit of a bargain now, I'm sure, for you. Chelsea has said that her pre-match tradition, and the thing that she has to do before every game, is go to Beatties and get a chippy. I would agree with you there, Chelsea, but that's more of a lunchtime tradition for me than a pre-game one. So, who better to talk to us about the history of Northern Irish football than two of our tour guides from the Education and Heritage Centre? I've got Gary and I've got Barry. I'm going to bring them in and chat to them about being a tour guide. I'm also going to do a little bit of a quiz that you can play along with at home. Gary and Barry will be on the buzzers, so you can get on your buzzers at home. I'm not going to hear it, but, it's fun to press buzzers, isn't it? Gary, Barry, two tour guides in the Education and Heritage Centre. Tell me, start me off by what is the best thing about being a tour guide?
Well, the best thing about being a tour guide is we're all volunteers because we're all dyed-in-the-wool Northern Ireland supporters. So for us, the best thing about it is getting talking to people who are Northern Ireland supporters, and obviously we do lots of different sorts of tours. We do tours with school groups, community groups, and public tours. And for me, some of the nicest ones are when you talk to people who want to just share their experiences of being at Northern Ireland games, going back over 50, 60 years. I mean, to me, my first game was in 67. I've now spoken to people who were at the Italy games in 1958. To me, that was part of mythology, but actually to speak to people who were at those games. So personally, for me, part of it is about giving something back, because we've had so much given by Northern Ireland to us over the years, supporting the team through thick and thin, and now it's a chance to speak to other people and relay some of the memories that we have with people maybe whose memory doesn't go back just so far.
Well, a couple of things I like is with the older men, we've got the facility now called At a Time, and one thing on it, there's 6 memorable moments on video. And one, of course, is the George Best incident with Gordon Banks, which nobody really sees nowadays. And all the older guys want to see it over and over again. And then it's great to see the older guys taking a penalty kick against their hero, Pat Jennings. Okay, it's only a digital computer image, but they think they are taking it against Pat Jennings. And, it brings them back to their childhood. It's just great to see that boy coming out to them again,
Part of our job, I suppose, really is to try and enthuse the next generation as well. So it's we do gain a lot from it ourselves personally, but I think the main part of our job is to try and enthuse the young people actually coming through, and relate the story of the Northern Ireland team from its beginning. Because as we know, we're one of the oldest associations in the world, and it's just a fantastic story from that small beginning of only 7 clubs who formed Irish FA in 1880 right the way through.
Is one of the most important things, do you think, about it, that you guys are fans and you're telling fans about it?
I think that comes across because we tell people that we're volunteers, which immediately strikes a chord to them because they realise that we tell them we are fans, and I think our passion and our interest of all the tour guides comes through, because if you didn't love the sport and you didn't love the stadium, you wouldn't do it.
And I think because we're all football supporters, we can interact with people in their own, if it's a German, we know about German football or Italian football, and it brings people in, and it's a two-way conversation quite often with whoever's doing the tour.
I know for me personally, I know a guy that is the grumpiest guy that you will ever meet. He is horrendous, but whenever he went and did the tour and I was chatting to him afterwards, he said, no, that was actually really, really good. I really enjoyed that. Is the tour different every time, or?
Oh yeah, it is. It's the people. It's the people who make it. And sometimes you're not in good form coming in. Maybe half night.
All right, you're always in good
10
form.
o'clock in the morning,
silly.
and then you get the people coming, and it just brightens your day. Other times you get a group, and they're only half interested, and it's all about your audience really, and it does give you great satisfaction when you see that they're enjoying it. That means an awful lot.
The highlights we talk about will be the 1958 team and getting to the quarter-final of the World Cup, the George Best era in the 60s. Obviously the early 80s with winning the home international championship twice, and it's quite nice when you have an English person on the tour and you've got the trophy there, and you can say that, well, it's here because we won it the last year. Our 2 appearances in the 80s in the World Cup, and most recently now with the 2016 Euros, we're lot of people on those tours will have been to some of those matches in the Euros, and really anything in between that anybody wants to throw in, we'll talk about.
And so, how do you think the eras? You've obviously lived through a lot of different eras of football.
Yes, we're really old. Thanks, Andy.
How do you think it's changed over the years? How does it compare now to back when George Best was playing, for example?
Well, for a start, for viewing, I mean, the facilities, the viewing, 18,000 people, everybody's a seat, everybody's got a really good view. When I was young, I could hardly see a match. And the atmosphere, I mean, when Pat Jennings was presented his trophy for 100th cap, they didn't even have a PA system in 1983, So it's much more enjoyable, much more atmospheric now.
You can obviously easily compare them, you've lived through them. How does the buzz that we got in Northern Ireland for the Euros, was it the same kind of feeling of the buzz back in the World Cups?
I've spoken to a lot of people, and there's another tour guide, Brian White, and I hear him saying frequently, it was the best 3 weeks of my life. And I think, to some extent, for some people that is true. I mean, we had it was a big party for 2.5 weeks. I mean, I remember being on a train. We were coming back from I think it was from the centre of Lyon, and there were kids standing on the platform. And they just looked at us and pointed at us and started singing the Will Grigg song. I mean, it was just a phenomenon that summer. 2016 was like a showcase for the GAWA. I mean, lots of teams have great supporters, but I think we really excelled ourselves then, I have to say.
For people out there that haven't been on a tour yet,
Just contact the IFA, Google IFA Tours, and all the information is there for you to find out. There are public tours every day during the week at 1 o'clock. It takes about 2 hours.
Okay, so we are going to do a bit of a quiz here. I've got your 2 names down here. We'll keep score.
Just a
couple
cracking
scores.
score.
It's kind of like, in kids football when you're not meant to keep track of the goal scored, but everybody does.
No.
I have a little buzzer for you each.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, brilliant.
That you can buzz in.
Does it make a strange noise like QI?
We're here on the Northern Ireland podcast. So,
Can I test at the work?
yeah, so
Brilliant. I like mine.
right, so the difficulty will range here. It's almost like a qualifying group. You've got your low-seeded questions.
Yes, I never got Germany and Holland. Yeah.
I'll start you off with it, and I'll ease you into it for maybe the people at home here. So our previous, all the questions are going to be related to our previous podcast guests. So hopefully you've been listening over the weeks.
Thought this is going to be easy.
Our previous podcast looked at the Germany game at home here at the National Stadium. What is the capacity of the? I feel like it was over here.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
18,500.
18,484.
Well, I was right. Hold
I'll
on.
certainly give you that one, Gary.
I was rounding off the nearest 500. Being a maths teacher, you know what I mean? Round it
You
off.
should have got it exactly right then if you're math teacher.
1,500 is what I have here.
Oh, well.
Okay, so in the build-up to Germany, we talked to George Saville on the podcast. His latest and first game for Northern Ireland were both Germany. What was the score in the 2017 debut match here in Belfast?
3-1 for Germany.
That is correct. Okay.
Didn't know it was his debut.
Well, it's one thing out of the question.
I did.
Oh, right, okay, so we talked to fans after the away Belarus game, and after a late Paddy McNair winner in June, he said that his hometown would be buzzing whenever we interviewed him. It hasn't been a question yet.
All right, okay.
It hasn't been a question.
But you see, we could give the answer without knowing the question.
So,
What's the name of his father?
what is the name of his hometown?
Both know that. Yes.
Ballyclare.
Ballyclare is correct, yes.
Oh, give us something difficult.
Some difficult, right?
No.
Right. Jim McGilton was on the podcast, and he scored on his debut in a friendly against Poland in 1991. Who was Northern Ireland's manager at the time?
Billy Bingham.
Billy Bingham is correct. Not a difficult one for you then?
A wee bit of a guess there, but
It's the most hesitation we've had so far, so I'm happy enough with that. Okay. A defender scored the two other goals in that 3-1 debut victory for Mitchelton. Who was the defender?
1991.
Jerry Taggart.
Correct.
Was
again.
it? Oh my goodness, that was an
Yeah,
inspired guess.
Roy Carroll has also been a guest on the podcast, and he received his only yellow card for Northern Ireland in a very memorable game against Portugal in 2013. Who scored a hat-trick in that game?
Ronaldo.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of the one out in Portugal.
It was indeed. It was right
We
behind the net.
two sent off that night.
Were you at the
It was
game?
right behind the net.
When,
for that
when
one,
McGinn
yeah.
scored the goal. Oh, God, brilliant. Look, it's soaked.
In that home game, 2 Northern Ireland players were sent off. Can you name the players?
Guy Lafferty was one, and I think Chris Baird might have been the other.
I'll give you 1 point
Oh, well,
for that.
it's
There's another point.
Kyle
on offer.
Lafferty tried.
Chris Baird was sent off.
Gary, you've got a chance here to steal a point.
Oh, that's a toughie.
It was a second yellow, and it was before Kyle Lafferty, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a Keith Gillespie.
That's all right. It was Chris Brunt.
Ah, goodness.
That's right, yeah.
One of the most famous assists for Ollie Norwood obviously came in the Euros, the Gareth McCauley against Ukraine. But can you tell me what minute the goal was scored in?
47.
It's not what I have here.
No, I would say definitely later in the game. I would say 67.
No, Gary, you were definitely closer. Not giving any points, but it was 49 I have here.
Really? I was only 4 minutes into the second
I
half.
must get the phone out later.
Okay, so Gareth McCauley's obviously, we've just mentioned him there. He was a guest on the podcast. And he talked to us about his sending off for West Brom against Man City right at the start of the game due to mistaken identity. So, which one of his teammates should have been sent off?
Craig Dawson.
Craig Dawson is correct.
Well, definitely wasn't going to get that. I thought it was a Northern Ireland quiz.
Well, it's Northern Ireland related, you know.
Related,
That one was
yeah.
a bit of a stretch. Okay, so, well, we had Jerry Armstrong on the podcast as well a while ago, and he told us all about his World Cup heroics. How many goals did he score in the
Oh, sorry.
1982 World Cup?
3.
We had a buzzer in here from Gary.
I buzzed before that. Yeah.
You said 9 or something.
No.
Buzz
It's
after,
three.
after the
It's three.
question has been said. Guys, you know, it's anarchy. Getting
Anarchy,
Gary a bit-
absolutely.
But he said 3.
I thought you were going to ask him many goals did he score for Northern Ireland,
but you see,
which
you
is
jumped
12,
in, you
but I
shouldn't
still
have
got
jumped
it.
in. You shouldn't
I thought
have
because
jumped
I pressed the buzzer then it would stop you pressing it.
No, that's not how it works. Not how it works. Michael O'Neill should be easy enough. Clinched our trip to the Euros after masterminding a 3-1 victory in Belfast against which country?
Well, I'm sorry.
Greece.
Greece is correct. That levels things off, by the way. So Trevor Carson was a podcast guest, and he told us about making his dream debut for Northern Ireland in a 2018 friendly. Which country was it against? Barry?
Israel.
Not what I have here, Barry. Not what I have here.
South Korea.
South Korea is
Yeah.
correct.
I was trying to think of the friendly matches played in 2018. That was the only one I
Okay,
remember.
well, keep thinking about it, because the next question is, who scored the 86th minute winner in that game?
Paul Smith.
Paul Smith is correct. Warren Feeney scored his first goal for Northern Ireland in a World Cup 2006.
Against Poland. No?
Not what it was.
Is that not the Boris? Is that the Boris one?
Okay, in the 2006 qualifier, 2-0 victory against Azerbaijan. Who qualified from Group C for World Cup 2006? Point for each team.
2006, England and Poland.
Yeah, I'll give you another.
Poland were first, and England were second.
I'll give you another point if you can tell me what points I have. Either of you.
Poland had 21 and England had 19.
It was 25 and 24. So we had Laurie Sanchez on the podcast, and he obviously talked to us about that game against England. So can you tell me the date of that game?
The
I got it.
5th of September.
September 7th.
September 7th is correct.
Only answer if you're right, Gary, will you?
Who was the manager for England in that game?
Ericsson.
Sven-Goran Eriksson, yeah. David Healy obviously scored famously in that game.
Hold on a minute, he hasn't asked the question yet.
Wait till I finish. Can you tell me the minute?
74.
73rd.
74 is what I
Oh! Well, the number said 73 something, so
Yeah.
I knew that you were going to ask it, what is a minute?
You're actually right, it is 73 and about 50 seconds, but it's in
that was the
the
74th
record
minute,
as 74.
That's right, the 74th minute.
We're complete nerds, Barry.
Well, after all that, it is
That's very good.
eight points apiece, so it's safe to say that you guys...
8 out of 9 isn't bad, is it?
Well done, Barry.
Well done. All that swatting up about the 1948 game against England just shows it was a waste of time.
It was an absolute waste of time. You should have known that it was going to be more lowbrow than that. So thanks very much, guys, for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it. And everyone at home, make sure you come along and get yourself signed on for one of the tours at the Education and Heritage Centre. So thanks very much, guys.
Thank you. All the best.
Cheers, Andy.
And that's it for another Northern Ireland podcast. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Hopefully me and Adam will be reunited in 2 weeks' time. So until then, there's only one thing left to say. Green and White Army! I can't be trusted to edit it without Adam here.
It's a good ball. The flag stays down.